Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to point out each and every day, it expands our base. We have had 101 days of chaos. I have no other words to describe my feeling this morning as I read the headlines. There is no doubt that the economy is very shaky, and the reason is one person, President Donald Trump. We know that yesterday the House Republicans, on a procedural vote, voted 216 to 208, that the nonsensical works of what the Democrats are doing, in the words of Speaker Johnson, are the prevailing attitude. And so there will be no investigation of what is happening in the White House. It is to me astounding that Congress, even a Congress controlled by Republicans, would crush the idea of a real in-depth look at what Donald Trump is doing. Certainly they must be aware that at least half the country believes that what Donald Trump is doing is destructive. Certainly, in a democracy, you should be able to have an investigation. But this vote, 216 to 208, gives the Republicans the power to crush any examination by the House of Representatives of what Donald Trump is doing to this country. There is no doubt that there are serious issues. All you have to do is take a look across our northern border. Take a look at Canada and their overwhelming rejection of Donald Trump. Take a look here in the United States, and I have to tell you I was stunned with this. Douglas Emhoff, the first gentleman, Kamala Harris's husband, was appointed by Joe Biden to serve on the Holocaust Memorial Commission here in the United States. It supervises the work of the library, the Holocaust Library in Washington, D.C., among other things. He's been fired, along with many of the people who worked with Joe Biden. Because what Donald Trump has done, whether it's the Holocaust Memorial Council, or whether it is the Kennedy Center, or whether it is, frankly, anything he touches, is to turn it into a partisan matter. One of the things that has been a strength of America is the idea of nonpartisanship, the idea that we could work together, that we could make a difference, and that dissent was welcomed. Amazon was planning to do an examination of the impact of the Trump tariffs. And of course, Donald Trump accused them of being partisan. And so what did Amazon do? Well, all of a sudden it backpedaled and dropped the idea and said, well, it wasn't really an idea, it was just a thought. And, well, there will be no investigation by Amazon because, frankly, Donald Trump is a bully, and he is doing everything he can to make sure that we do not have an opportunity to see a real examination of what Donald Trump is doing. And of course, this situation infects so many aspects of what the Trump administration is doing. Let me just indicate to you, in the case of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You and I know that what he is doing is very destructive. You and I know that his argument against vaccines, his statement that he will find out what the causes of autism in just a few weeks, all these things are bogus and ridiculous. And yet he continues to serve in one of the most sensitive positions in the federal government. I don't know what it takes to get the Republicans to understand that there is a problem here. It is a serious problem. And can you imagine that a branch of Congress refuses to really investigate or look into these things? Oh, okay, I understand. The Democrats have a partisan agenda, and so do the Republicans. But isn't there something here about America? This is, to me, a great national tragedy. I always remember the words of Gerald R. Ford when he assumed the presidency on August 9th, 1974, when he said, "Our long national nightmare is over." For many of us, the national nightmare continues. It continues now under Donald Trump on a daily basis. And I want to be very clear about this. There is a need for the Democrats and the Republicans to understand that the America that we have known is fast receding. We don't believe in a presidential dictatorship. I don't believe in a presidential decision to use executive orders and the powers of the presidency, as Donald Trump is doing. Yesterday, I pointed out that Franklin Delano Roosevelt cooperated with Congress in order to get things done in the first 100 days of his administration. Donald Trump is ruling by fiat, by executive order, and that is not the democratic way. It simply isn't. We know that the states, many of the states, are getting together now and suing to overthrow what Donald Trump is doing. They're going through the courts, which seems to be the only recourse that we have. I raise these issues with you today, as I regret to say I have had to raise them every day because of what Donald Trump does on a daily basis. There is now talk that Donald Trump, and he has said it clearly, wants to continue along this path unrestricted with expanded presidential powers. If the Congress, controlled by Republicans, would simply consider that if Joe Biden or a Democrat were doing this, they would be up in arms. One of the things that is so disturbing to me is that the nature of bipartisanship seems to have gone by the wayside. Let me point out that it was exactly 50 years ago today, April 30th, 1975, that Saigon fell. It was confirmation, if you will, of a great national tragedy. And Democrats and Republicans came together to try to heal the wounds caused by the Vietnam War. It was an astounding show of unity in the face of unmitigated disaster. That is what we need now. Because the fact that there is a disaster doesn't mean that everything is over. It simply means that Democrats and Republicans have to come together to try to resolve the issues which exist. The partisanship that I am seeing now, the fact that the House Republicans are essentially saying, hear no evil, see no evil, they're not going to do anything about what Donald Trump is doing, well, it's an abdication of responsibility. I have said it before, and I want to say it one more time. In the end, the Republicans are going to have to pay a price, because I know in my gut that what Donald Trump is doing is wrong. And when the American people finally accept it, and I think it's coming very soon, this acceptance of the Trump disaster, then the Republican Party will have its day of reckoning. I, for one, can't wait. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along. Let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand. And I want to say that your interaction, some disagreeing with me, some agreeing with me on these issues, is great because it makes me think, it makes me pause. It makes me want to continue to do what we are doing in terms of exposing what we see as unconscionable attack on American democracy. Let me also indicate to you that you can interact, and I hope you will continue to do so, because it makes a difference in what I do. And let me say a big thank you to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this podcast. Without Gogo, we wouldn't be up and running every day. So Gogo, thank you very much. I am John Rothman, and I'll be back tomorrow, right here, with another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. See you then.